Personal branding is like the new reality TV. People are hot for it. Yeah, everybody's businesses are just screaming the same stuff. It gives you a unique advantage.
Welcome to Marketing with Vino, the edutainment business growth podcast, mixing education and entertainment to make growing your service business much more fun. Your hosts, Quinton Venter, online marketing expert, and Gaby K, creator of the Business Freedom Formula, have a glass of wine and share powerful and up-to-date strategies to help grow your service business fast.
Hey guys, welcome to another amazing episode of Marketing with Vino. Joining us is the most amazing Gabs. Welcome, Gabs.
Welcome, Quinton. Hello, awesome humans. Quinton, your hair looks really nice today. So if you're watching on our YouTube, Quinton looks like you got a haircut. If you're not, check out our YouTube channel, Marketing with Vino YouTube.
Thank you so much for noticing. I did actually get a haircut. We had Polo by the Sea on the weekend. So I thought, you know what, may as well just freshen up a little bit. And M's Workday sponsor Polo by the Sea. So we had free Taylor's wines. They launched a new Taylor's brand as well, the Rosé and so forth. And so it was an awesome day drinking in the sun. It was beautiful weather, watching the horses play. First time watching the polo. It was an overall amazing day. So fresh haircut and enjoying good times.
Awesome. Well, you're looking spunky, as always. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have a really cool topic to share with you today. First up, just so you know, Quinton bought himself an awesome, kind of phallic-y podcast microphone. Actually, no, his parents gave him an awesome podcast microphone. So if you're watching the video, you'll see it right there. If not, I'll describe it. It's a black, long, big, chunky thing. Yeah, and so his audio is probably going to be a lot better than mine today. Apologies. I shall get one. I'm inspired. Today we're going to be talking to you guys about branding, and specifically the different types of brands. Well, do you have a brand that's a business brand or do you have a personal brand? So Quinton has a personal brand. He's got Quinton Venter Agency. And drumroll, thank you. Recently, I decided to change my brand to a personal brand. I literally just rebranded as Gaby K. I used to have a business called It's Simple. Same thing, we've just moved everything over and put a different bow on it.
So I've got a question for you. Why did you do that? Why did you go to a personal brand?
That's a great question. And that's exactly the perfect question, because that's what we wanted to share with you today. Like, what are the pros and cons? What's the benefit? Is it appropriate for you to launch a personal brand instead, and why? Yeah. The reason I launched a personal brand, so I've got two businesses. One of them is still Tricorp Finance, which it's not me. And there's a reason for that. For that industry, for what I'm selling, it's finance and insurance for bikes, cars, and boats. It makes sense that it's its own business, its own entity. However, with my mentoring business, it's me. And it's like you want to have a look at, why did you create your business, and what's the best market channel for it. And I'll give you some examples in a moment. However, this is my story. So I created my business not because I needed a business to make money from. I'd already established success. And for myself, what had happened to me along my journey was, I'd accumulated success and I'd gotten to number one status in different areas. And along the way, I started helping people. And what I found was I got so much more joy out of helping other people succeed in their sales targets, in their businesses, than when I achieved my own success. Not that I wasn't happy, please don't misunderstand. It was just, I felt like, I want to do this. I want to help other people. It feels so much better to help other people fulfill their dreams. So I created this business and I called it It's Simple, because I make things simple. Now, because when I created that business, I still had a different mindset around branding. I came from an old school thought of you always create a business with the intention to sell it. So as a result, it's, you systemize it. It's got to be obviously it's got to be profitable, but everything's going to be systemized. You have the intention to sell your business, and that's what actually has you build a really strong business, because if it's just your brand, people tend to get a bit lazy. Whereas if they're looking at selling it one day, they put the extra bits and pieces in, they make sure Hello, we have a caller. Didn't know we took calls.
That's amateur hour for you.
Hello, James. The so my intention was build a business to sell it. Now, by the way, guys, I still recommend that for as a standard business model because it has you do certain things in your business that you wouldn't do if you didn't have the intention to sell it. People tend to systemize a lot later if they're not building a business as a business to sell. However, along the journey, I realized I'm never going to sell this business. I created this business to fulfill my own inner passion, my own purpose. This is everything I love doing. Like, I don't feel like I'm working in my business. I almost feel guilty. I don't, but I almost feel guilty taking money because, I get to do what I love, right? And so I took on a new mentor at the end of last year, and I took on the new mentor because my mission, my purpose, I wanted to scale it. I wanted to grow it. And I really wanted to go even more global than I've ever been and really start to just touch more souls around the globe with my message and help more people fulfill their dreams.
And you already have, everyone listening, Gaby has been featured in, what's the Sunday Herald, the Financial Review?
So the International Business Times, the Daily Herald, recently Gaby got featured in 194 media publications all over the world, which is really exciting, as my new brand, of course. Now, here's the thing, though. So my goal was I want to go global. I want to make a bigger difference. I hire a mentor who has exactly what I want. And when I'm chatting to her, I say to her, hey, I've been toying around with the idea of having a personal brand for a while. What do you think? Thinking she's going to give me like this big, long-winded explanation, right? And she goes, yes, do it.
Awesome.
And here's why. So the truth of the matter is my clients buy me. They don't buy it simple. They buy me. They buy me through my content marketing. They buy me through a sales consult. They buy me. They're not buying it simple. They're always buying me. So for me, a personal brand makes sense, but there's so much more to it. I truly believe that personal branding is the next reality TV. I actually believe it's already there. And
absolutely. I believe that everyone in the future that is in business will have a personal brand alongside that will change and morph as they go through life. But if they want to have something that's a new entity, they may have it as you've currently have it and as I've currently have it. They may have that side business with the end intention to sell it off. But the personal branding is so you that whether you decide to do X now and in 10 years time you want to do Y and then Z, you can morph through that and you don't need to apologize to anyone. This is who you are and this is the journey that you're on. And that's what people are going to relate with along the side of it.
Yes, and that's another thing that really attracted me to going through this process because I thought to myself, look, I never ever want to stop helping people fulfill their dreams. And right now, I specialize in helping small business owners make their business dreams come true. However, I have no friggin' idea what 10 years from now Gaby is going to want to talk about, who she's actually going to want to help. I have no idea how it's going to look in a decade. All I know is that I'm staying in the game. Yeah. And what that means, though, is that my brand is me. I get to, it's funny, ever since I rebranded, ever since I made that decision, I've actually been sharing a lot more content that's not just business related. It's actually like, life related, spirituality related, mindset related, general, not so much as business. And I love talking about that stuff. I love talking about how the universe works, how to manifest cool stuff, how to stay in an awesome state. The more personal development type conversations. Yeah. And I'm absolutely loving and digging the fact that I'm no longer in a box because as Gaby Kowalski, as a brand, I get to be Gaby Kowalski. I'm no longer limited to, marketing for it's simple. And it's weird, like it's freeing, it's exciting. I feel even more inspired. I'm loving it, having absolute ball. So this is where, to me, I knew, for me, the decision was solid. I knew that if I wanted to make the global impact that I see myself making in the future and beyond, it was time to change my identity. I really, truly believe that whenever we look at a goal, I really believe that we need to be the person, then do the action, and then we'll have what we have. Yeah. And so when I was looking at, okay, what's my goal? my goal is global impact. You know, well, who's the identity right now? Like, what's the environment? And to me, I look at environment from a few different perspectives. I don't know about you, Quinton, but I look at environment from the perspective of, okay, who am I hanging around with? And do they actually support and empower this vision? And are there potentially people in my life that aren't? They're kind of not supporting that vision. They might be whatever. They may not be good for me. And I do a bit of cleaning around there. I call different people in. So if I sort of go, okay, I need to have more people in my world that resonate with this, I'll call them in. I'll either befriend them or I'll hire them as a mentor, or I'll do both, which is actually what I've done. Yeah. Then what I do is I look at internal environment. I think it's interesting because listening to this, I imagine that you're probably into personal development, and it's probably why you dig our podcast, because we talk about that stuff. And if you're not, who cares? We're not going to discriminate, right? So here's what I've noticed is interesting, that so often you'll be at a seminar, you'll read a book, and they'll tell you the top 5 people you hang around are the ones that are going to determine who you show up as, because you're going to be shaped by your environment. Yeah. And so often, especially at wealth seminars, people kind of misunderstand that, and they leave thinking, oh shit, I've got to get rid of all my broke friends and and start hanging out with really rich people. Honestly, to me, that's so amateur one-on-one. You have no idea what they're really saying with this message. The biggest thing, though, is no one seems to mention this, and this dawned on me. Now, I want to share it with you today. That they go, what is the 5? Who's the 5 people that you're hanging out with? And it's very external. There's no power in that. It's you going, well, I'm going to get rid of everybody in my life that, I drink with, so I never drink again. But there's one person that you really should look at, and guess who that is?
Yourself.
Quinton? Bingo! I knew you'd get it. The greatest environmental shift that needs to take place first is with yourself. Yeah. You got to check in, who am I? What are my values? What are my beliefs? What's my behavior like? Instead of, firing all your broke friends, have a look at your own friggin' finances. Yeah. Does that make sense? So for me, it was an identity thing. It's a who am I right now? And where does it need to be upgraded? In the being, the who do I need to be? And so personal brand is the being upgrade. It's the identity upgrade. It's the shift within myself, but also a shift externally, right? Absolutely. That has me step into a whole new world. Yeah. And this is why I rebranded as myself. Also, though, I love the concept and where you can take branding and personal branding and what I want to do with it. I love the concept of letting people into my world. Like, it's funny. I love having pajama days. And I actually, to me, I for my personal self, everyone's different, right? But for me, I believe that success means you've got the freedom to work in your pajamas if you want to, right? To me, having to dress in a suit like every single day and be somewhere and be someone, to me, that's not success because there's no freedom in it. Now, each their own, right? I don't spend all the time in pajamas. And what's interesting though, Quinton, was I remember ages ago telling you about it, and you're like, you should share more stuff about you in pajamas. I'm like, no, it's a brand clash. Like, it actually was, because it's simple as a brand was. Yeah, fun, quirky, but also professional. And the truth of the matter is, ironically, under the umbrella of It's Simple, there actually wasn't as much room. I know it sounds weird, but that's just the brand that I'd created didn't allow for me to be that vulnerable. Yeah. Does that make sense? Absolutely. Like, it was created a little bit differently. Yeah. So here's what's funny. The moment I rebrand, I post up a photo on Facebook of me in pajamas, telling everyone, hey, overachievers, sometimes it's okay to underachieve and chill. And it's just interesting because 6 months ago you're telling me, hey, you should do something in pajamas. I'm like, no, I couldn't do that. And so I love that about personal branding, because to me, I believe true success isn't even external. It's not the money you have or the status. It's not all the awards you've won and the friggin' cash that you've acquired. It's your internal emotional world. It's, are you happy? To me, that is success, because you could have awards galore. You could have won a gold medal. You could have millions of dollars in the bank. But if you're not internally happy,
Yeah.
dude, you're not successful. And so to me, internal happiness is full stop. Like, to me anyway, everyone's different, and please get that this will be your thing. To me, happiness is I get to be the full expression of myself. Now, that means that if I want to take a photo of me in pajamas or make a little video of me,
You don't want to be limited on who you can and can't be and what you can and can't say.
yeah,
For a brand, you do have certain standards in place, and yes, they say that for your brand as a whole, you need to just be you and express you. But then it comes down to people are related to you for who you are, and that becomes very hard to sell at the end of the day if you want to offload the company, if you want to sell out of it. The way that I've gone about my personal branding and the Cloud9 agency, even before my personal branding, I remember I had done for you marketing, and that was the very first beginning of it. But
yeah, it was too.
But for me, that was too limiting. I was too put into a box by saying, this is what you need to talk about. Done for you marketing. I couldn't go on about fitness and all the other things. I could have, but I didn't feel that. I felt there was a bit of a clash.
Isn't it funny? Because of the box.
Yeah,
it's funny, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yep.
And now it became Quinton Venter Agency. And now it's just Quinton Venter. It's just the brand of me. And I like to talk about relationships. I like to talk about health. I like to talk about marketing. I like to talk about my dog. I like to talk about other things, other lessons that I've learned along the way that is associated around my personal brand. But now we also have a Cloud9 agency, and Cloud9 agency serves the purpose for sharing tactics and strategies to grow businesses. So there, I now incorporate the stories around my personal life, but I will incorporate it into a business lesson or a marketing lesson and leave it for what it is, because that is a partnership that we've built up that will essentially be selling out of. So we're building up that entity. But Quinton Venter right now loves fitness and loves talking about relationships and has a ball about digital marketing and social media. So that's what I'm going to be talking about. Who knows that 10 years from now, I'll be doing whatever and it'll change. And that is how the identity, as you're saying, is constantly morphing. And the way that I see it is for your brand, if it is to be a brand itself, like it's simple or Cloud9, there's a lot of content that needs to be created. But for personal brand, there's a lot of documentation that happens. So the difference is the content that's being curated, that's being created on the fact of we need to be seen as the industry leaders, or we need to gain influences, versus documentation of my personal brand shows the life lessons that I'm learning and that could inspire and empower other people along the way. So it's just playing at two different games. You can combine them both, but at the end of the day, it's just, what is your end game? Where do you want to be with your brand in the next 5 to 10 years? A personal brand also gives you the great ability to become not part of the commodity. You're standing out. There is only just one of you. There's plenty of other business coaches or consultants or fitness professionals or whatever, but there's only one Gaby. There's only one Quinton. And Gaby loves pajama day, and Quinton loves playing fetch with his dog. And it's those things that makes you stand out of the crowd versus the commodity of the noise that everyone keeps talking about.
Yes, I love that. I love that you said that, because instantly when you've got a personal brand, you're unique. You're not yet another insert whatever you do here. Yet this is the difference. So if you want a personal brand, you've got to get one thing, and it's not for everybody. And you've really got to, to me, I think it's one of those decisions that you kind of want to do a bit of soul searching around and ask yourself, am I ready to let the world into my world? And how much of my world am I ready to let in? Yeah. When you look at there's people having successful personal brands right now, and they had to make decisions around, okay, well, where? Am I going to let them into all of my world? Am I going to let them in with my kids? Am I going to let them into my relationship with my wife, husband? Am I just going to let them into what we do in business? Am I going to take them on holiday? This is where you sort of look at your whole life and go, okay, where do I want to bring these people? And if you're not willing to share any of it, then personal brand's not for you, because there's got to be an element to you that you want to share all of those things. You actually want to let people in.
feel
You kind of want to
inspired.
make friends with everybody.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, yep. And so for me, because my intention is global impact, it was logical. How can I possibly make a global impact without building rapport on a large scale? So it's funny because when you look at marketing, I remember years ago, I used to look at someone with a big platform and I'd go, wow, how amazing would it be to have like 1 million followers? That's so cool. It'd be like you'd make a fortune. But it's not necessarily the case, because just because they follow you doesn't mean they're actually consumers of your products and services. It just means that they resonated somewhere with your brand. And I remember, I didn't even tell my clients this, because if they were like really, really, really focused on trying to get lots and lots of likes on Facebook and driving all their money into that, yet they've got no friggin' clients, I'd tell them, look, please, there's other, like, yes, of course, social proof is an important part of marketing. You want to look like everyone wants to work with you. However, if you're putting all your efforts into looking good, but you can't pay your friggin' mortgage, you're in the wrong place.
Absolutely.
And I'd tell them, I'd be like, what would you prefer? Would you prefer the opportunity, would you prefer 50,000 people knowing your brand, but only 5% of them being consumers of your brand? Or would you prefer, or would you effectively prefer having 50,000 customers? And everyone says the same thing. So here's the difference though. So for me, because I want to make a global impact, it's important to build a platform, because that I get to make an impact in my platform and in my paying world. So for me to reach my vision and mission, a platform's actually important. Yeah? So if you were to ask me, Gabs, what would you prefer? Would you prefer 50,000 people know you, follow you, and listen to you, or would you prefer 50,000? Does that make sense? Like, and only a small portion buy, or would you prefer all buyers? Well, with my vision, I actually want the platform and the consumers. So once again, why is personal branding great? Because it builds you a platform. Because when you share all areas of your life, you're going to resonate with different parts of the world. So if Quinton's talking about fitness, and sharing some cool tips about how he looks all sexy and hot all the time, then there's a whole part of the world, right, that's going to follow him that don't have a business. And now he's impacting a part of the world that will never buy his products or services unless he decides to create a program for fitness. And by the way, how cool is that when you do have a personal brand and you explore different topics, you can actually start to create different products if you want to for those followings, if you're called to.
Yeah.
And so for me, the personal brand thing is, as a personal brand, I get to share all areas of life, which means I'm building platforms in all areas of life, which means I'm getting the following and the customers and the clients, and it's tick, tick, tick. Profit, tick. Impact, tick, on a big scale. Does that make sense?
It's beautiful, yes.
Yeah. And that's why for me it was important. Some of you listening, like, for example, if you're in the fashion industry, if you've launched a new label, so provided you have a personality that you like, that's charismatic and interesting and isn't shy of the camera, if you were to personally brand your stuff and actually get out there and produce content and let people into your world, they'll be more inclined to buy your product. Otherwise, you're just yet another a label competing with the big boys that nobody knows. Does that make sense, Quinton?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so personal branding, what is it really? Well, ultimately, it's content marketing on steroids.
I think personal branding is freedom.
It is.
Personal branding allows you to express yourself to the level that you want, that you're comfortable with, to make an impact on what you want to do. Even if you don't want to make an impact, you can still be a personal brand of someone who makes silly videos on YouTube and gets paid shitloads of money to sponsor a product for making silly videos or whatever it is, or making experiments, or all of those things. It's allowing you to be creative with yourself, if that is your realm, if that's where you want to play, to express yourself to a larger portion of the world than just your local community and your local friends.
Yep.
That to me is a personal brand. It
Yep.
really allows you to scale out, to make that bigger impact. and moving forward, it is, you can morph it into whatever it is that you feel that is currently making a difference in your life, that you could speak so many different messages. You just don't need to be that one note, because you already are just one person.
Yeah, brilliantly said. Love that. So here's some tips. One, if you are looking at personal branding, and you're really, really considering it, a couple of things you want to ask yourself is, and I said it before, is one, is this going to take me, is this the vehicle that's going to take me to my mission, to my vision? Please get, like I said, personal branding is like the new reality TV. People are hot for it. Everybody's businesses are just screaming the same stuff. It gives you a unique advantage if, and only if, it calls to you. Second question is, do I really want to do this? Do I want to let people into my world? Do I want to be a public figure? And if I was to be a public figure, what type of public figure do I want to be? Do I want to be known in just a small portion of the world? Like, I just want to be famous in my own little niche? Or do I want to be famous? Do I want to be stopped at the airport and asked to autograph stuff? Or do I want to still have a level of, of privacy?
Yeah.
Well, it's true. Like, these are all really
Absolutely.
important. Yeah, really important things to, to consider. Really unpack it. Like, am I going to, how am I going to do this? And then if you decide, you're like, yeah, I do want to do this. Yeah, I want my brand to be me. At the end of the day, if I go out there and I share from my life and people buy me, then I can sell my products online. I reach a global market, yada, 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 whatever it might be. Or I just get to be the full expression of myself. How cool would it be that I don't have to be a certain thing? I can, change the status quo in my industry. If you're called to it, go for it. Absolutely go for it. Go out there, get yourself, get your branding done and really, tune into who you are. The best part is you are your brand. You just get to be you,
Yeah.
and literally this is where it's easy to create. I think it's easy to create content marketing when it's just you, because look, to be honest with you, I could produce 20 pieces of content a day if and I probably will in the future. It'll be funny. Only because like stuff happens and I'll be like, oh, that's really cool. I could talk about that. I could talk about that. I could talk about that. I could let you in here.
Things happen every day.
Yeah.
You could be
Yep.
on the street and you can learn a story, and stories
Yep.
inspire. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. For example, just today, I drove an hour and 15 minutes, to get laser hair removal. Why? Why would I do that? Because I truly believe that quality trumps quantity any day, and I look for the genius expert. I only want to work with people that are phenomenal at what they do. And so as a result, I'm willing to drive, and it was worth every single second because this person blew me away with her expertise, blew me away. She made me feel so comfortable, like didn't feel funny at all about the process.
Beautiful.
And we're laughing and joking and it didn't hurt. Like she's got this special machine. Her machine's like $110,000. Other people's machines are like $30,000. To me, I will go the extra mile. And so, like I was driving along thinking to myself, I could totally do a bit of content on this and tell small business owners that if you really led with your unique selling proposition, if you really stood there and went, what's awesome about me? Like for her, she's got a pain-free machine and she makes you feel so comfortable, like you're at your grandma's house eating a cookie. It doesn't feel weird at all, right? Like to me, if she led with that, she'd have more and more people coming. And if you're a local business and you're telling me, oh yeah, I can only get clients in my local market, this is where, I'd share with you as to why. Like that tells me that the market doesn't know what's unique and special about you.
Beautifully said. That's the key thing. Why are you different? Why should they come to you? And it's about that experience, as you're explaining, because ultimately we as humans, we thrive on experiences. We are storytelling machines, and from every experience we can tell a story. It's when we tell a story about coincidences, for example, like when you thought of someone and then they rang, and you would tell that story, but you don't tell the story about the other 10,000 people you thought about that didn't call you. So if you can create an amazing experience for people who start talking about that, start sharing the love around to their local communities, it is worth the travel for anyone going far coming back to your store. We had
Yep.
one particular client as well, putting out an offer to his local market. So he's here in Chinatown, in Sydney CBD, and he had someone travel 45 minutes to come to his shop for a $1 massage. Now this was the offer because it was guaranteed the best massage you will ever have, and it's the main offer of just getting people coming through the door. And he's a chiropractor, and then he does an assessment on them, and
Yeah.
then he rebooks them. But for that $1, a person came in yesterday and he was telling me the story that he came in, and even though it's just $1 charge and the masseuse was 15 minutes late, he still paid $40. He goes, that was the best massage I've ever had. I want you to take my money, and I will be sending more people to come to your place. Like that's the power of when you have an amazing offer, but when people come and you give them the most amazing experience and you deliver on that, they will be your champions and they will bring it forward to everyone else. That is the
Massive.
power of it.
Absolutely. And this kind of ties into personal brand as well, because the personal brand has you be unique, but you've got to own it. You've got to you got to speak from your uniqueness with your personal brand. If you don't let yourself be vulnerable enough to really let people in, then you're not doing it right.
Yeah.
Like the other day, I posted up a post, and I'm posting stuff I never shared before in this space. Never. It's funny. I'm like exploring different parts of myself. There was many podcasts ago, we shared with you guys the 4 characters of online marketing. There's a reluctant hero, which is basically someone who's like, I made this invention, didn't really know if I should take it to the public, it cures cancer, don't really know what I should do with it, but hey, it works, so I'm a bit reluctant, but hey, guys, check it out, right?
Yeah.
There's the hometown character. I used to be completely dead broke and fat and ugly, and then I did this cool thing, and now I'm super hot and super rich and happy.
And you can do it too.
And you can do it too. There's the us versus them, which is, everyone's telling you that, you should do a 6-week, get a fat loss challenge. What I'm here to tell you is that's bullshit. Unless you change your lifestyle, it's never going to work. So if you're sick of the roller coaster, if you're sick of being let down, us versus them.
Yeah.
And then there's the expert. Well, dude, the expert is just a flat out, I've got the runs on the board and I can tell you what to do. Now, here's what's interesting. That since stepping into the personal brand side of things, I've never been able to tap into Reluctant Hero, ever. Like, I didn't even understand Reluctant Hero. I'm like, what, reluctant? I'm not reluctant with my stuff. I'm like, listen to me. I could do hometown really well. I could do us versus them. I could definitely do expert, and had to think it down. But what's interesting was when I committed to letting people in to the background, to all parts of myself, there was reluctant things I started posting, and I literally had tight butt, eek moments as I was pressing post, right? And then obviously every time you do that, it stretches your comfort zone and you let people in even more. But this is what's interesting, that that for me, personal branding actually gives me the scope to be able to work through all those energies quite beautifully.
Beautiful.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's all different areas of your life and how you start to conjoin them all together.
Yeah. And literally, the other day I posted, or just after, it was Christmas, just after New Year's Eve, we ran this ritual. And so the ritual was, I literally wrote down every single limiting belief I've ever thought that I felt was going to possibly stop me in achieving global impact, and my body and my love and just all of everything I want in 2017. And then I burnt the piece of paper. And I made up, I bullshitted that belief and made up positive beliefs that were to thingo it out. Now, I literally on Facebook shared photos of me burning it. I shared my full list, the full list of all my deepest, darkest,
Talk about vulnerability,
thingos.
yeah.
Massive, right? And it got a massive response too. People loved it. Heaps of people have done the actual ritual since then. But my point that I'm trying to make is that depending on where you're at and what you're wanting out of your business, if you want to get that unique, edgy marketing, personal branding could be for you. What else would you add to that as we close off?
I'd close it off with this. Gabby and I, we have a mutual friend who recently stepped into her personal branding in a beautiful way that she started opening up about her past and
Yes.
what has happened in the industry that she's in and was in and what's going on now. And from that, I've just been following it on the sidelines. And the moment she opened up on the personal brand, that she could finally set herself free on that,
Yep.
we both know what happened to her business, that people started supporting, people started engaging. She started getting calls, she started getting messages. She now even starts filling up her event because she can now literally just speak authentically from where she is and open that up to a point where she's got nothing to hide and people love her for who she is.
Yep.
And she's comfortable in her skin. She doesn't
Yes.
have to hide about anything anymore, which on a vibrational level holds you back to the success that you'll ultimately want. She is literally set free, nothing stopping her. And it's the most powerful thing from that is when I saw one of her friends wrote a long story as well. Because
Let's give the viewers and listeners a bit of context. So, the one of my dearest and closest friends and acquaintances as well. She's a coach, and it's funny enough, she's been niched in health and weight loss and a bit of personal development. And literally towards the end of last year, she kind of went, oh, you know what, I'm not really digging this anymore. Like, I just want to have a break. I'm not taking on any new clients. I'm just going to maintain my current ones. I'm not really digging, my business. And I said, do it. Have it. Just time out it. Just have a break. Like, explore who you really are. And then there was this flip. Literally, she saw me rebrand. She saw this is like just a sidetrack here. Remember when I said to you, your environment shapes your identity? It does through osmosis. Like, it really does have an impact on you. So through osmosis, here's me rebranding. Through osmosis, somehow she goes, oh, I like this. And literally, what had it happen for her was, we were writing out, just so you know, this lady that we're speaking of used to be an exotic dancer a few years ago, and she's never come out publicly with it because she kind of thought, well, if they knew that, they probably wouldn't take me seriously. And it was actually a mistake for her. But when we were writing out our beliefs that would stop us achieving our goals, one of her beliefs was around the past exotic dancing. And she was also going to post up a post on Facebook and share the vulnerability of her list. And I challenged her. I've gone, how about instead? What if, because to be honest with you, you're not really because she wasn't going to share the dancing thing. She was going to share everything else. And she goes, I don't know what your problem is. I don't know why you're all vulnerable and weird about it. I don't feel bad about this. So I'm happy to share this right now. I'm like, well, I'm going to challenge you then. How about instead of you sharing your list on Facebook, why don't you share a story about this belief and prove to the world that this process has actually smashed it by sharing and being this person and owning all of it. And the little bastard did the very next day. And she wrote the most beautiful post, really gorgeous. Check her out, Kelly Bowen, on Facebook. She's got an open page. It was such a beautiful post, and she was sharing her journey and what it taught her about receiving, about vulnerability, about self-worth, about everything, and it just connected so beautifully. She spoke from the heart, and that post went viral. It went friggin' binoculars. She had 10 times more interaction on that post than any other post she's ever had, which is pretty friggin' awesome.
And the beautiful part of it wasn't anything structurally written to get people to take an action, to call to action, and how to going to monetize this. It was just purely on the sense of, I need to share this with people that need to know this, which makes all of the difference on the vibrational level, how you're coming across, what you're saying, and ultimately how people respond to it.
Yeah, and literally it was, what working in the sex industry taught me. That was the thing. And this girl is a world champion athlete. She's got a gold medal. She's a world champion. The truth of the matter is she's got status. The funny part is just this thing had been holding her back. And as soon as she let it out, the personal brand and letting it out actually released passion, inspiration, purpose, this feeling of self-expression. I truly believe that when we get into business, Quinton, we get into business because we seek to be free. Absolutely. We don't want to. We don't want to have a boss tell us what to do. We want to set the rules. We want to create our own friggin' status quo. And you'll either do that through a personal brand or through your business. It doesn't really matter. I want to finish this off. Oh, by the way, with what Quinton was saying, Kelly inspired other people. Like literally the next day, people are posting up posts coming out about all sorts of things and tagging her in it because she inspired this wave of people to be honest. Look, honestly, guys, I don't think there's no greater gift you can give to another human being than to let them feel loved in all of themselves for everything they are and everything they're not. It's the greatest gift we can give another person. And in order to create that shift on the planet, we need to be that change first. And so, fist bump.
Boom.
Love you lots, Quinton. Love you, listeners. Please get on
I
Marketing
thought you
with
were
Vino.
going to say something else.
No.
It's like fist bump. Okay.
That was the drop moment. That was the mic drop moment.
It's been awesome hanging out with you again, Gabs. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. And let's take this personal branding journey. Let's keep checking in on it. Because
actually, no. I want to know. No, I'm not done. I want to ask you a question. I'm sure they all want to know. What are you doing in 2017 with Quinton Venter?
2017, Quinton Venter.
Yeah, this year. Like, where are we taking the Quinton Venter brand? What's the vision for it? What are we doing to be even more Quinton Venter? To be even more Quinton Venter out there in the world?
Yeah, good question. So Quinton Venter as a brand and as a person in 2017 is the person that gets shit done. 2017 is my theme is getting shit done. Working harder than I've ever worked before, loving more than I've ever loved before, and enjoying life more than I've ever enjoyed it before. It's the best of all of the worlds, looking after my health better than I've ever done before. But the main thing with Quinton Venter in 2017 is it's finally stepping into a realm of being on stage. One moment. being on a platform, facilitating conversations around other people who want to step up their game as well and get more shit done in their life. I have an amazing opportunity to be part of another brand as their facilitator here in Sydney, and with that on board, it's allowing me to step into my next stage. So Quinton Venter is all about building relationships and taking that knowledge of building relationships to the digital space. But now I feel like I can even impact more people just from creating more greater relationships with them as a person, and then taking that into their entire lives, whether they want to take it into their health, into the business, whether career, whatever it may be for them. But they will be able to get more shit done in their life as well. So
love that. I love that. Well, let me tell me if I'm like I'm just gonna big picture sum that up. Like Gaby can. What I'm hearing from you though is, and I love this, 2017 for you is about being getting even more done than you've ever gotten done, being even better at everything, like growing. It's massive growth, getting shit done in a state of love. That's what I heard.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so what I love about Quinton, guys, is he's not he doesn't make doing stuff painful. He literally, the way he executes and the way he assists you to execute, it's flow, it's fun, it's you're working and it feels like play. And I love that about you. Like, to me, you've got this gift to turn work into play in the most beautiful way and help people get more achieved in 3 months than they probably had gotten done in 3 years. So hats off to you. I commend you, my friend. Love you to bits and pieces. Thank you for sharing. Ladies and gentlemen, please jump on marketingwithvino.com, join the Facebook group that we've created for you. Guys, it's for you that we've created this so you can ask questions. So, don't get me wrong, this isn't a group that Quinton and I are in every day spamming you with stuff. I don't think we've even made an offer in the group. How funny.
No, we just hang out, listening to your stories.
Not a really, yeah.
Well, that's the thing. That's the purpose of Marketing with Vino. It wasn't the sense of how we're going to make money out of this. It was how can we reach even more people? And we're staying true to that. We want to build an epic community of people that want to continue the conversation offline, or not offline, off the podcast, online.
Yeah, still online.
where we get to hang out, and we have awesome members at the moment who share their stories, they share their lessons, they share their things that are happening in their business, and the community steps up, and it's just beautiful for people to get engaged, being like-minded, and celebrating wins along the way.
Yeah, that's it. Look, ultimately, though, I invite you in if you want to continue the conversation, if you want to ask us questions. We will create podcasts based on what you say. So I'm kind of wanting to call in even more people with the intention of jump in, take ownership, that it's not just about Quinton and I talking at you. Talk back. I want to hear from you. I want to know about you. And I want to know specifically what's important and what you'd like us to talk about in future episodes, so we know that we're making a bigger impact for you as well.
Awesome. Lots of love to you, Gabs. Thank you so much. Thank you, awesome listeners. And have a wonderful afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you are, whatever time you're listening to this. And
that's right.
We'll chat to you soon.
Mwah.
You've been listening to Marketing with Vino. If you enjoyed this episode and want to access the resources discussed in this episode, go to marketingwithvino.com and select which episode you've listened to.